Tractor downtime. We all know what that means, and it's not good. Tractor downtime negatively impacts your bottom line. But did you know that the most common cause of equipment failure is that moving parts are not lubricated properly? If you're not using a high-performance fluid with valid OEM credentials to lubricate your tractors, you could be putting your profitability at risk. With more low-quality fluids popping up on retail shelves every day, it's getting harder to choose fluids that offer equipment superior performance and protection. While you may feel confident selecting a fluid based on its OEM credentials, you need to be cautious, as many lubricants claim to meet the specs, and they really don't.
Adding to this confusion, fluids that can't meet current OEM credentials oftentimes mislead you by advertising only obsolete and outdated OEM specs, such as J20A, 303, and Ford New Holland M2 C134B and C.
To help you identify high-performance fluids you can trust, TractorLife.com has developed a mark called TractorLife.com Authenticated. You can be sure that tractor hydraulic fluids endorsed by this mark meet and often exceed current OEM credentials and performance claims, providing you ultimate protection and performance for your equipment.
So let's take a closer look at OEM credentials. OEM specify physical, chemical, and performance requirements of fluids for use in their equipment. These fluids are designed to provide desired frictional properties for wet brake and clutch operations, reduced gear wear, and other performance characteristics.
However, most OEM specifications are self-certifying, which means OEMs don't provide any real checks on claims that oil companies make on their product labels. We know there are oil companies in the marketplace that claim their fluids meet OEM credentials and performance claims, when again, they don't. To illustrate this point, we tested a low-quality fluid and a high-performance lubricant against a few of the John Deere J20C requirements. The results may surprise you.
Kinematic viscosity measures the thickness of the fluid. The J20C specification requires a minimum of 9.1 units to adequately protect equipment. In the test, the low-quality fluid fell short by nearly 30% at 6.6 units and would not protect equipment as recommended by John Deere. However, the high-performance fluid exceeded this criterion at 9.5 units. Quite a difference.
Now let's look at another physical property in the J20C specification. Brookfield viscosity shows low-temperature performance of a lubricant. At minus 35 degrees Celsius, the specification requires a maximum of 70 units.
The results here will shock you. The low-quality fluid totaled more than 1,000 units, falling well outside the maximum specification and far into the danger zone. Simply put, the low-quality fluid won't perform well in cold weather. In fact, the low-quality fluid doesn't flow at all in the cold temperature. It is clear that the fluid will make it harder to get your equipment started and take longer to provide an adequate lubricant film in cold weather. Meanwhile, the metal parts are grinding against each other without protection, causing reduced pump output, loss of hydraulic pressure, and premature pump failure. On the other hand, the high-performance lubricant meets the J20C spec for Brookfield viscosity and flows well at both hot and cold temperatures, which translates into improved efficiency and pump performance in all weather conditions.
The next category for J20C specification is oxidation stability, which shows the ability of the lubricant to keep parts clean. John Deere requires lubricants to meet a maximum viscosity increase of 10%.
The high-performance fluid tested easily met this requirement at 1.4%, but the low-quality fluid failed miserably at 24.9%. Low-quality fluids cannot prevent oxidation, which causes the formation of deposits on metals, bearings, and seals, as well as the thickening of fluids. Deposits and thicker fluids will strain hydraulic pump systems for premature equipment failure. However, oxidation protection characteristics found in high-performance tractor hydraulic fluids keep parts clean, providing optimal performance throughout the fluid drain interval.
The final requirement of the J20C specification is for fluids to pass the JDQ95 wear test. This 50-hour test is used to evaluate the lubricant's load carrying, wear, and extreme pressure characteristics in spiral bevel gears.
You can see that the low-quality fluid tested did not measure up, leading to severe wear, ridging, and scoring. Parts protected by the high-quality fluid show little to no wear.
So, you've seen the evidence. It's clear that low-quality tractor hydraulic fluids do not meet OEM credentials and performance claims. While they might say they do, many of their claims offer obsolete and outdated specifications. Until now, it's been hard selecting fluids you can trust. The TractorLife.com authenticated mark makes it easy. Fluids endorsed by this mark meet and often exceed OEM credentials, providing optimal tractor performance today while making downtime a thing of the past.